Hey, everybody, welcome back once again to the Patient Players Podcast. I am your host, Daniel, joined by my favorite co-host, Jordan. How are you doing, Jordan?
I'm the favorite co-host. I did it.
You made it.
I made it. It only took me 25 years to get to this point. It's been a journey, let me tell you what. I've fought people. I had to fight the corporate ladder of co-hosts. That is a rough ladder.
You had to fight the ladder or climb the ladder?
I had to fight the ladder. The ladder, it's so competitive out here in the co-hosting, environment that even ladders are trying to get the job.
Even the ladder itself is trying to climb the ladder.
It's trying to climb itself. It's like reaching its little wooden stubby things, and it's just like,
I do know. You know what, Jordan? I do know. I really do.
I'm glad you do.
It's a harsh world out there. I know exactly what you're talking about, but
it is a ladder eat ladder world.
Take solace. It's a ladder climb ladder world, apparently.
Ooh.
Take solace and comfort in the presence of the Patient Players Podcast. You're listening to episode 43. I almost got tripped up because we made a mistake in our notes. This is episode 43, which does come out July 27th of 2020. That is where you can hear this podcast. If you are already listening to it, you know that. If you are joining us in the live audience over on twitch.tv/patientplayers, then you also know that this will be available tomorrow, July 27th.
You mean today? Today is July 27th, listeners.
No. You hide the date when you want to pretend like you're recording on the day. We don't, because we want people to actually know that they can join us live.
Oh,
see?
but that's why we say congratulations, you're joining us on the 27th. However, yesterday we filmed this live, so you missed it. So next week, tune us into a weekday. It changes Saturdays, Sundays. Follow us on Twitch. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button.
Oh gosh.
Hit that. Yeah. Remember to click that bell. That bell icon.
You know what? You've convinced me. I think your way is much smoother and easier. I think I'll do it that way from now on.
Fantastic. Remember to hit that bell icon, kiddos.
If you do want to get notified about anything we're doing on the Patient Players Podcast, you can head over to patientplayers.com/social. You'll find links there to anything that's relevant. And you can also use that link to join our Discord and hang out with us throughout the week. We've been on there streaming some games and hanging out a couple times this week, so it's a good place to be. If you are new to the podcast, then we are going to be talking through the games we've been playing this week. When we talk about playing games, we talk about playing in the slow lane. What that means is we will often be coming back over and over again to the same games, or going back to a game that just got a new update or something we're interested in. We are rarely out there jumping on what everyone else is talking about or purchasing things brand new at full price. So we'll go through the games we've been playing, any cool deals we've found or old games that we've picked up. And then we'll also shout out some ways that you can get free games or games at a reduced price or something through a subscription service. We like to call that out. And we'll end the podcast with the best part of the podcast, which is the questions and answers section. We got some good questions this week, I'll tell you that.
We do. Yeah, it's definitely the best part. Also, I love subscription services. I was sitting here, you mentioned the subscription services, and I'm like, wow, here on the podcast we do love our OG slogan, and also we do subscription services because the gaming economy is really turning into the best bang for your buck can be found in monthly recurring fees. And that's crazy.
I flip-flop. I flip-flop both. I think you're right some months, and then other months I realize that it's been like 4 months and I haven't used something in a while, which is kind of the point of those services, right? Once they get you on the hook for the subscription, they make more money over the long term because it's consistent. But for me and you,
we're too smart. We hit that pause button. We hit that unsubscribe this month.
All the time. It's like more than I leave it, I pause it.
Absolutely. I have probably subscribed to the Xbox Gamer Bundle, I think maybe 5 or 6 different times. Like each time like a restarting it. Because I buy like a month and I'm like, great, I'll play this game for a month. And then I hit pause because I'm like, I'm not gonna play it next month.
That's true. Yeah.
But I feel kind of bad because it's only $5. So like how cheap am I that I'm pausing a subscription of $5?
Think about this compared to someone who goes out and it's like, you know what, the hot new shooter came out or whatever. I don't know why I'm picking on shooters. The hot new game came out. I'm gonna go drop my $70 on the special edition. If you are using something like a $5 subscription for an entire year, that's less still.
Oh wow. Wait, no. Yeah, 5
Yeah.
times 12 is
Yeah, 60. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Think about that.
insane.
Yeah, math.
And they're constantly putting on brand new, man. We're going to be talking about this later, the Gamepass
Yes.
at least. So
yeah, that's all to come. Let's talk about what we've done this week. What have you been doing this week?
yeah, so this week, Daniel, my friend, I've just been playing some video games, you know. Been playing
that's
more.
good.
Been playing more Paper Mario. Mentioned that last week.
Yes, a lot more.
A lot. Well, yeah, I guess it has been a lot more. Yeah. I played some Monster Hunter World with you the other night.
That was fun.
And it must have been like 3 or 4 weeks since I last played. So that it was a relearning process, a miniature relearning process. But that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
You like remap all your controls.
yeah, with my sweet Elite controller.
Uh-huh.
And also I went back to an old mobile game I mentioned a while ago.
Wait a second. You've told me specifically that you're like avoiding mobile games.
Yeah. This was before I said that.
Okay.
So,
all right. Give me the juicy deets.
I just played some Mario Kart Tour this week.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah. So yeah.
Are you still subscribed to their like $15 a month? Like you get an extra pipe
No,
service?
it was $5 a month, and I paused it long time ago, or back when I stopped playing.
Okay.
But yeah, I played again this time. That's still a solid game. Like ignoring the obvious microtransactions, paying $40 for a character, or was it $40 for? I think it was $40 for a cart actually.
What?
Yeah, plus gems which you use on the loot boxes. The prices are nuts in that game.
Wow.
It's disgusting. But all that aside, ignore all that. It's still a solid game. And the reason I started playing it again earlier this week is that lo and behold, 1 year after its release, they added landscape mode.
Wait. I thought you could do both the whole time.
I'm sorry. Horizontal mode.
That is landscape.
That is landscape? Okay, yeah. No. Up until this week, the game was only portrait mode on your phone. It was portrait Mario Kart. So just this week, they finally added sideways.
What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That it took them a year to do that.
I'm literally sitting here in shock. I can't believe that. Okay, last week, I think last week I accidentally coined a new term because this has come up like 4 times in the last 2 days. That is a Nintendo stank turd right there.
Oh, no. But it's not even Nintendo. It's just their IP.
That's still Nintendo.
They've inspired mobile developers to pick up their stank turds and redistribute them.
Apparently, it comes with the contract. You have to include at least a certain number of stank turds.
It's the hidden text in the contract. You got to read. That's hilarious. So yeah, like man, I'm playing that, and I'm like I'm still holding out for it. I feel like they're not going to do it. Maybe they'll do it a year from now. I would just love the game to death if it supported a controller. It went with
and it doesn't.
It does not with iOS games. You know. They're slowly starting to adapt because Apple only like started approving or updated the phone to support Xbox and PS4 controllers semi recently. So
wait, didn't all this happen at the same time? Because I remember comparing the subscription of Mario Kart to the Apple Arcade price, and those came out around the same time. But Apple Arcade was the big push for controllers.
Yeah, it was about a year ago this time. So I think when iOS 13 came out at the end of last year is when the controller support started becoming a thing. So yeah, like I would love that. I would love to have my phone because like the game. Again, the microtransactions are so annoying, but it has so many characters, so many carts, so many tracks, and the tracks rotate every month. So it's always new. Like it's a really cool game. And I just wish that it wasn't a mobile game. Like, if they made a console port of this game, took out all that garbage, it would be like the Everyone's Here. It'd be the Smash Bros of Mario Kart, and I'm still hoping they'll make that one day. But, you know, it's just not going to happen because they got to save that garbage for the mobile games, you know.
Now, if we want to talk about great mobile games that you strip out all the garbage and put it on a console platform, I've got a game for you that I've been playing this week.
Is it Nonograms?
no, no, that
Okay.
actually is a mobile game that I've been playing.
Yeah,
But
I thought you were setting it up for it's Nonograms and it's back this week,
no,
baby.
no. I did mention this one last week, but I hadn't played it. You remember I had ordered that 3DS game, Puzzles and Dragons.
Yeah.
So it arrived. So I have it, and if you don't know, the Puzzles and Dragons for the 3DS is like two games on the same cart. It's like Puzzles and Dragons Z, which is it's like a self-contained game. Like it's just a Puzzles and Dragons game, unrelated to Nintendo. Other than that, it's on the 3DS. And then Nintendo was like, nah, if that's gonna sell, it needs Mario on it. And so they made Mario Bros. Puzzles and Dragons. And then they were like,
Essentially just a skin of the game.
right. And then they just threw them both together on the same cart. Two completely different games. Like you launch into the menu and you have to choose which one you want to play. It makes no sense. But the point is, I have that. And boy, so I had played maybe an hour or two of Puzzles and Dragons on the phone with all of the mobile game loot box garbage, and I was excited to like get in there and just play it. And what I was looking for is 100% there. It is fun. I have not felt like there's anything I couldn't get through just like playing the game. I have not felt like the random chance is like messing me up a whole bunch. And it's a fun puzzle game on my 3DS. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't expect, I booted up the Puzzles and Dragons Z version of it.
Uh-huh.
What I didn't expect is that it is almost literally just Pokemon.
How's
Like
that?
to a T. Okay, I'm gonna list a couple things off for you, and
Hopefully
you're
with
gonna
not all
tell
the
me.
garbage they've been doing, I assume.
No. Okay, so let me describe this video game to you. Okay, so your character wakes up on a second story bedroom of their house,
Nice. I like it already.
walks down the stairs on the right side of the house, and encounters their mom in the kitchen. No dad around,
No
just the
dad.
mom.
Yes. Yes. I was hoping you'd say that. Oh my word.
They're told that today's the day where they get to go talk to the professor and become a dragon tamer. They're so ready to become a tamer. Everyone apparently gets to try their hand at becoming a tamer at this certain age. Not a trainer, mind you, a tamer.
Right. Big
They,
difference. Very big difference.
you then go outside and you talk to the professor about receiving your first dragon, and you get now here's a note. It is a little superior to Pokemon. You get all three of the starters. You get a
Whoa.
red, a green, and a blue tamer.
Dude,
Or
you can't say that so
dragon.
loudly. You might start giving them ideas for the next Pokemon game.
I just like as I'm playing it, I'm like 30 minutes in, and they're like talking about the power of the bond with the dragons and friendship. I'm like, this is just Pokemon. And get this, you head out to what's essentially like the first route, like out of the main city into like the world. And this is where it's a little different because instead of having like cities connected by town or by routes, you still play Puzzles and Dragons. So you kind of like get a level select, and you like select the level you want to do, and you go through and you fight those guys in order. There's no like the equivalent of trainer battles or like exploring a route. It's very linear once you're playing the game. It's just a puzzle game. But while you're doing this puzzle game, all of a sudden, like you run into essentially Team Rocket.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. They even have an evil organization that's like run by like this crazy powerful guy who wants to take over the world, and you run into
No.
and the grunts all have like weak level like or I almost said Pokemon. It's just
Shadow
Pokemon, dude.
dragons. So wait, how is he trying to take over the world? Like, has he said yet? Is there gonna be like a legendary dragon fight at the end of the game that you have to use against them or something?
No. Okay, so what happens is as you start the game, there within the first like hour, there's a big cataclysmic event where he triggers some powerful magic, and it breaks the world apart into puzzle pieces. And so like you go like each stage of the game as you go like one step by step, you have to go to these temples and free these like super powerful spirits from his control, and they will restore that puzzle piece to the earth. And so you're like slowly restoring the world.
Okay.
Um
So he's kind of
but
already succeeded, it sounds like.
yeah, and then he's just trying to stop you from restoring the world.
Oh, okay.
And
That's new. I would like that twist in a Pokemon game.
right after he breaks apart the world, you run into essentially what's a Togepi. It's like a mysterious, super powerful dragon that like no one knows where it comes from, and it can talk. And get this, they even do the Pokemon thing where they give you like multiple times they will give you two dialogue choices, and then it absolutely matters not at all what you pick.
Oh, yep.
In fact, it's so bad that they give you the choice of naming that like special dragon that drops down, and it's like, oh, like what, we don't know what this one is, right? You get to name it. I named it the one that I wanted to name it, and then it's like, I don't like that name. I'm gonna choose the other one.
What?
It just straight up said, no, I don't care what your decisions were. This is all an illusion.
That's
all
terrible.
of your decisions are an illusion.
I was afraid it was going to like ask you to type in a name, and then it was going to be like, nah, and then have just like a predefined name always.
No, even worse, it was just 2 predefined names, but one of them is just wrong. If you pick it, you pick the wrong answer.
What on earth? Okay, is this like the sidekick that helps you out through the game or something because they can speak?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's the character that speaks because your character is silent. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, yep. Makes sense. Remember in the old days when characters couldn't speak and there was just no sidekick and it was just a silent game? like OG Zelda, you just and you still talk to people, but you didn't say a peep the entire time.
Or like sometimes the characters would respond as if your character had spoken without actually having any words.
I love that. That's such a clever way of doing it. Where they're like, what did you say? You say that little Timmy fell in the well? Oh no.
Yeah,
and you're like, he didn't say anything.
Anyways, I actually haven't played a ton of that one. I have another game that I started playing on my DS instead. So I bought this game and I was fully expecting to play a bunch of it.
Wait, what? Like you booted up your DS and you're like, I'm gonna play this, and then you saw this other one and you're like, oh, that's a fun one too, like that.
That's 100% what happened.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I want to lay this out for you. I don't know why I've never talked about this game before, but what happened was I was like getting Puzzles and Dragons and putting it in my DS, and I had to take my old DS game and put it back in its like cartridge slot. And I was looking at all my old games in my little case container, and I saw one. I was like, man, I haven't played that game in like 10 years. I wonder if it's as good as I thought it was, because I remember thinking this game was almost perfection.
It's Ape Escape on the 3DS.
No, not quite. But have I ever talked to you about Lost Magic before?
Is it a card game?
No, it is not.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to describe this game to you, and you tell me if you think this sounds like a good game or not, okay?
Sure.
So, this game is, you are a mage, a wizard, and it is an RTS on the DS. So you control your mage, and you like tap him, and you tap around on the map to make him run around, and you control monsters.
Okay, I'm liking it so far.
So you can like send them tactically around the map to fight other monsters and capture like control points that give you more mana and stuff.
Is it like
and then
Pikmin? Like that kind of RTS? Oh, okay.
No, like a true RTS, like drag, select, and click.
Oh, on a DS?
On a DS,
Whoa.
yes. Whoa. And then at any point you can hit the L button and a big thing will pop up you can draw on, and you have to draw magic runes. And based on the magic runes you draw... Is this just
Daniel the game? Oh my... You mentioned drawing runes last week too, didn't you?
In Skyrim, yeah.
You love drawing runes games.
So you draw these runes and it casts spells based on the runes, right? So you have like 6 or 7 elements, and then they each have like 3 tiers of rune you can draw, right? Okay. Then...
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Is this like the MOBA... Not MOBA. The massive online game, the VR one that we played,
Orbis. No.
Is it like Orbis where you can, if you already know what a high level one is and you draw it, it'll do it? Or
no, unfortunately not, because there's actually it has a storyline, and the storyline relates to like when you learn the runes and everything. But pretty soon into the game, once you hit the first like checkpoint out of like 5 or 6 of them, you unlock duo runes, which means all of the runes I just described to you, all like 35 or 40 of them, you can combine any 2 of them, and they have a unique effect.
Whoa. Just by drawing both side by side?
Yeah, one after another, yeah.
Wow, dude. It's like Magicka with runes. Magicka RTS.
It's like a Magicka RTS on the DS, and this game is literally like 14 years old.
Good heavens. What's it called again?
It's called Lost Magic. It was one of my favorite DS games as a kid, and I've literally...
Boring name.
I've literally never heard anyone I know talk about Lost Magic, and it, like, to me, it was super fun. So I was like, okay, I was also a kid. Maybe it's not as fun as it seems. Oh my gosh, it is so fun. I'm probably gonna play through the whole game again. Like, okay, one of the runes, the Shadow rune, It's basically a Pokeball. If the monster is weak enough, you can capture it, and then you can use it in future fights.
What?
And your monsters have stats and can level up. So it's like an RTS that's also Magica, that's also Pokemon.
What happens if you combine that with other runes? Like, how does that impact that?
They become more effective for that element.
Oh,
So if it's like a fire monster, you do like the shadow capture rune and then a fire rune, and you can capture the fire monster more easily.
wow. Do you think? I guess it's the chances are so low that there's no like newer version of this game anywhere or remaster. Because
So I looked
how are
this
you
up.
going to play that? Maybe a
I
phone?
know. So there was a mobile game called Lost
Okay.
Magic. It had some subtitle. It only came out in Japan and it was not well received. And
Ah,
instead of drawing the runes, you tapped the ones you wanted, which I think is a mistake.
yeah.
But apparently it wasn't very good and it was Japan only, which really bummed me out. It's a game made by Ubisoft, so like I
Whoa,
think they
what?
still have the rights. Yeah.
Weird.
But the guy who made it apparently went on to make a Wii game that is not literally the sequel, but it's the spiritual successor. Even the runes are the same. Like it's basically
Oh,
the
that's
same game on the
awesome.
Wii. And so you're like drawing with the Wiimote, which sounds terrible.
Wait, yeah, not the Wii U, it's the Wii?
It's the Wii, yeah.
Ooh.
And that one is also Japan only. Apparently, I forget what it's called.
No.
But yeah, I'm like sitting here like this game is so good. I don't know why more people haven't played it, and I'm like, what can I do? Like, who can I email to be like, please make Lost Magic 2 or just like port it?
Look,
It's
it
so
worked with
hard.
whoever you got in contact with for Evil Genius, so you obviously know the right people.
True that. Okay, you're right.
It doesn't
I
matter
need
if
to
this
reach
company's
out.
gone or dead. Like you just need to be like, I want a sequel, and they'll be like, we're back, guys. We don't know where we came from. We just woke up one day and we're in an office, and we're like, I guess we're working on Lost Magic 2 for the
Yeah.
Switch. I
Oh,
guess you could, yeah.
also, I've been playing too many Nintendo games on my Nintendo consoles. This game is hard. Like, I
Hmm.
forgot that games are hard on Nintendo consoles sometimes because Nintendo, like, especially the first like third of the game is just super tutorialized and easy. But
Yeah.
like, I failed like the fourth mission because I didn't have one of my guys stand on a spawn point, and so it started just spawning crazy enemies. And I was like, oh, I messed up. I got to redo it now.
Wow.
It's it's
Yeah,
so
Nintendo
fun.
has gotten so accessible. Maybe that's not true for their third party games. Maybe it's just all games in general have gotten so accessible. Everyone needs to be able to play this and beat it.
Yeah. Well, and Nintendo has a really good solution to get around that with their collectibles, where they hide their challenge with their collectibles in all their games, like
Hmm.
Mario, Luigi's Mansion. Like, if you are just a kid, you can play through the whole game and beat it just fine, but you won't get all the like golden stars or coins or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Or the
Um,
stars on your profile. That
yeah,
your save selection.
yeah, which is like I don't know. I sometimes I just like the difficulty, but I'm gonna keep playing Lost Magic. It is super fun. I could go on about the cool different rune combinations and stuff all day if you wanted me to, but I think we should talk about other games.
Yeah. You mentioning the like the or just us missing the accessibility in games, that was really applicable this week to my time in Paper Mario Origami King, actually.
Okay, okay,
Because that being a first party Nintendo game, it needs to be accessible to everyone and easy and blah blah blah.
right.
Uh, this week I encountered an area, the first area of the game where it was like the least fun I had in the entire thing.
Okay.
And
Was it because of difficulty or what?
yes and no. It was two different sections that were just put next to each other in the game. So the first one, I spent like a half hour just trying to figure out how to beat this boss, and this has been a common complaint is everyone says the bosses, man, that game, they claim it to be accessible, but
Hmm.
um it's rough for the wrong reasons, I'd say. A lot of the
Okay.
bosses, the way you beat them is trial and error, which is not very fun in my opinion.
No, not at
Like
all.
you do something like, oh, this will work, and it doesn't work at all, and you like get punished for it because it's like, oh, now you have to defend against the enemy attacking, and he'll do like a
Mm.
quarter of your health, and it's like, oh, I thought that was going to work, and you do things over and over again, and like nothing ever works. You have to do it the one way they want you to. And I feel
Mm.
like the way they try to combat that, maybe with playtesting, is during the bosses, you can find little envelopes on the arena you can pick up, and it literally gives you a hint on what to do.
I saw that when you were streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the time I didn't need them. It was obvious, but I finally got to one where I could not for the life of me figure out what I was supposed to do. And I was just sitting there like just with my hand on my face, just like I don't know what to do, and I want to figure it out. But that could be there was a mechanic that I'd never used during a boss fight up until this point because I didn't think it was a thing. So eventually I did figure it out. But that aside, the other part I was mentioning was like a three trials thing where you got to beat the trial of wisdom and the trial of, power.
Nintendo loves that stuff, dude.
Exactly.
Nintendo loves that stuff.
Yeah, you got to get the 3 orbs to open the door. So that is kind of where they did a cool thing where it was not dumbed down. They were difficult trials, actually. There was like a quiz one that I kept getting wrong. And there was like a timing one where something would drop over your head and you had to stop it right before it hits you. Ooh. But yeah, so I failed that one, I think 3 or 4 times in a row. I failed the quiz one twice in a row. But the more times you failed it in a row, the little statue outside the trial started to be like, hey, you're having a little difficulty here. You want to give me 3,000 coins and I'll just make it easy peasy. So like, I thought that was a cool addition, the way they did that, where they didn't assume you were bad, but they gave you the chance to be bad before, and also charging you money for it. He's like, I need 3,000 coins.
Well, which, to clarify, not real money. We're talking about Paper Mario money.
Currency, yes. And I actually, because I was streaming, so I was reading chat and I was just mashing A, so I accidentally spent 3,000 on the quiz one, and then I was doing the questions and I was like, why are these so easy now? Like, what the heck? And even the game started to be like, the game itself said, wait, why are these questions so easy? Like, as if I had tricked the trial.
To make you know that you had done something.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, I wanted to do like the actual hard one. But with the timing one, I was like, no, I already paid the coins to get past the quiz one. I am going to do this timing one. And like I said, it took me like 4 or 5 tries, and every time the guy was like, you look like you're having a hard time. Why don't you pay 3,000? I'm like, leave me alone. I appreciate that you're doing this for people who, just like, this isn't fun. I want to skip this. But
that's very much like the Super Mario Land approach, right? Where they had if you died too many times on the 3DS Super Mario game, the little like gold star with the Tanuki would come up and you'd be the white Tanuki. It was like a permanent invincible and a permanent Tanuki.
Dude, I love that. I think I never used it. And what I appreciated is if you never used it throughout the game, you would get a special star on your profile. Like I was saying earlier, just to be like, I actually did this. But I thought that was a really clever way of accessibility. I feel like that's how accessibility in games should be done. It shouldn't just be like a Pokemon game where it's all easy. You don't have any choice of making it difficult.
Right.
But this was like, no, we're going to make the game we want to make. But if you suck a lot, we're going to give you a roundabout solution.
Well, but there's also like, there's a psychology aspect to that, right? Because it feels better to go out of your way to get like the coin collectibles that they do and add challenge that way. Cause that feels like you're trying something and succeeding and achieving, and if you don't get it, you're like, whatever, it's just a collectible,
right?
Whereas the other way, psychologically, it does actually make you feel bad to admit defeat and be like, I need to go to Weenie Hut Jr. and like,
I'm sorry, what?
It's a SpongeBob reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need to go to basically like the baby land and play this game with all the babies, and yeah, so like
that's rough. I think Mario Odyssey did that too. Didn't it do that too? Like if you died a lot, it would give you, I think it doubled your health.
Oh yeah, you're right. You would get like the six chunks of health, right?
Yeah. That one was also good because even from the beginning of the game, you could do I want to play in assist mode where it just starts you off the entire game with double health and no falling off cliffs. That's cool.
Didn't that one quadruple your health if you did bad in assist mode? Didn't it do the same thing, but it would just take you to like 12?
Oh, did it? I don't remember. I never. I see. I'm not a pleb. So I never did that. I'm a pleb in Paper Mario, apparently.
Gordon, you're so try hard. I don't get it.
Oh, it was rough. It was rough, dude.
Whew. So that was Paper Mario. Anything else to talk about there?
That was Paper Mario. Yeah, I'm still liking the game a lot. This section of the game, definitely did not like it. It was kind of like even a little more bitter because it felt like filler content.
Oh,
Like,
that stinks.
this whole trial thing was absolutely out of the blue, unnecessary. It's like they're just like, we need more content. Make them do this here, and they threw in like a random boss, and I was like, this is such an awkward spot for them to put this, and it has nothing to do with anything. But it was weird. But it hasn't affected my overall opinion of the game. I'm still really, really enjoying the Origami King.
Okay, and from what I've seen on your streams, like the charm and character and story is top notch, right? Like it's not any less than the old games.
It absolutely is. With them not, according to an interview, with them not. Oh, I didn't talk about this with you.
Okay.
There was an interview last week where I think it was the main director of the game said, since Sticker Star on the 3DS, we what was his phrasing? I think it is, we can no longer make custom characters. He phrased it like they are no longer allowed to do that, or that is something that is completely off the table since that game. So like with that in mind, like assuming that it's coming from like someone higher up who's like, no, Mario and Luigi is the RPG. That's where we're doing custom things. They did a good job of putting character into just Toads.
So many Toads.
There's so many Toads, dude, and it makes sense when you read this interview, knowing that they literally can't change the characters. And when you look at Bobby, did you know about Bobby, the bomb sidekick?
Yeah. I mean, I've been catching maybe like 5-10 minutes of the stream here or there.
Well, he's like the sidekick that I'm like, just put a hat on him, make him a different color. But with that in mind, that they aren't allowed to do that. Like, they did a really good job of making him a unique character, and even in naming him, because like I've said before, that your sidekick calls him Bobby, but he's like, no, that's not my name. I'm just a Bob-Omb or Bob-Omb. I never know how to pronounce that.
I would say Bob-Omb.
Yeah, I like Bob-Omb. But yeah, it's like them trying to get around this. Like, we know our fans want special characters, but we're not allowed to do that. So here's a character, and we'll give him a nickname, but he'll say that's not my nickname and make him look like everyone else.
Yeah, like think about working under those restrictions, and like,
it sounds terrible.
I am not giving them any slack on this, but it explains a lot of those Nintendo stank turds.
Absolutely.
Because that's not just true for Mario. That's true for every like Nintendo organized game. But the thing is, like, that doesn't make it okay. It means that it's not the developer's fault. It means it's some higher up producer's fault. But it's like, it's still Nintendo's fault. They still need to work on that culture to make it so that you can make a good stinking video game.
Get rid of those stinking turds, those Nintendo turds.
Turds. We only want good stink here.
Good. Oh, well. Yeah, but like, I can't imagine being a developer on the game and people like getting mad at you as the developer for not doing like what they want in a game. And I don't know if they're just not allowed to say anything about it. I assume there's like, contracts where it's like you can't push the blame on someone else.
Oh, and that's totally like, that's just a good business practice. You don't want to like backstab someone that you work for.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it would just be not cool to be like, yo, we know the game sucks. It's not our fault. It's our boss's fault.
Yeah,
that's not.
Man, if only though, like, people need to know it's not their fault. They need, like, I feel like people need to complain to the right people, and they're not doing that. You're like, you're preaching to the chorus. You're lassoing the cows, if you will.
I will.
The pre-lassoed cows. They're already lassoed. Look, they're already lassoed. You get that lasso out of here. But that's Paper Mario for you. It's still really good. They did a really good job, and it's long. It is a long game.
The old ones were long too. I always remember that. Like, they were always, when I played through the N64 one, I didn't never beat Thousand Year Door, but I played through a lot of it, and I just remember being like, man, this game, I thought it would end a long time ago, and it's not good or bad that it's still going. It's just still going.
Yeah. So I'm glad they did that with this one, because I was bummed at how short Luigi's Mansion was. I was really bummed at that, because I think I did pay $60 for it, because I was really excited for it. Because here on Patient Players, I game in the fast lane when it comes to Nintendo games.
Immediately on, usually pre-ordered sometime.
Yeah. And the only reason I got Paper Mario again was because I had a discount. I had like a coupon, So I was like, I'll try it, and I'm so glad I did. And I'm glad it's still going. I will probably beat it this week, so probably next week I can talk about like my official end game.
Your podcast review of Paper Mario and the Origami King.
Exactly.
In the interest of time here, not spending forever on games, I'll mention I'm still playing Satisfactory and Heroes of the Storm and Nonograms. There's been a lot of fun with that going on the Discord, but nothing crazy new to report there. Same thing with Monster Hunter. Like you said, we played some Monster Hunter earlier this week together. Got a little tiny bit further into Iceborne. I found out the reason I was struggling so much with the Iceborne content is because I was trying to use this like super cool armor from the end of the normal game, and I didn't realize that they make the gap between the end game armor of the normal game and the like final tier or the first tier armor of the DLC. The gap is like 40% or something, like in terms of how powerful it is.
I think I was over double in defense from what you were using.
Right. Even though I had like the top tier and it was upgraded as far as I was allowed to at that moment.
I thought the thing about the game that was cool is that you could upgrade the armor to stay with you, you know, in where you are level wise. So is it just like a strong armor and that's the downside of it is you die a lot?
No, I think that concept is true up until the crossover between low rank, high rank, and high rank and master rank. I think that the armors within a rank can't be upgraded up into the next rank's power.
Okay.
So and there's also stuff we never did in the base game because we never played it before the DLC. Like there's special tempered monsters that will give you bonus items that will then allow you to like change armor or weapons to be modifiable more than they normally are.
Mm-hmm.
So we never got into that whole system, but maybe that could have made it more powerful. But the bottom line was I was using the wrong armor and getting slaughtered, and now I'm using the right armor. And
cool.
We'll see how that goes.
There you go. How dare you play the game you want to play it, Daniel? You play the game the way we tell you to play it. By golly.
Now, the last two things I want to talk about that I have more to talk about than those games I just mentioned. I tried to boot up Killing Floor 2, which, if you remember, was one of the free. It was one of the free Epic games from like a week or two ago. So I downloaded it, all 64 gigabytes or whatever, and booted it up and went to find a game and like went and changed all my key bindings, got all ready to play my first game, and said like find. I didn't even like do a custom game. I just said like find game, just any game, drop me in there, normal difficulty, and it was just searching for like 4 or 5 minutes.
What?
And I was like, this game was free last week. How is no one playing it? And so I did a Google search, and apparently there are two things that are true. One of them is that in the week since it came out on Epic and was free, it's had a lot of connectivity problems.
Oh.
But those were apparently fixed like a few days ago, so it shouldn't have been that problem. The second issue is that they are still developing crossplay between Epic and Steam.
Oh.
So the Epic version only works with the Epic version, and so no one was playing it.
Oh,
I couldn't find a single
dude.
game. There was not a server.
That's crazy. Is that wait? How does that happen? Like because Steam has its own servers, right, for multiplayer games.
Yes, and a game can choose to use their own servers, or they can choose to use the Steamworks servers.
Okay.
So like a lot of the games that we've played, but like Satisfactory, you can't like invite your friend via their friend ID, but you can take your session ID and share it with them,
right,
and they'll actually be able to connect directly to you. But I think that's because Satisfactory hosts a server on your machine. It's not on someone else's server.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, there you go. Should have gotten it on Steam for free, which you couldn't have.
Exactly.
Dang.
So I tried to play that one because I couldn't. The last game I have to talk about this week is Celeste, which I brought up a few weeks ago.
Oh, very nice.
And that I beat it last night.
What? Wow.
Yes, I played through the last 2 chapters last night, and it was incredibly good. I dare say I loved Celeste.
Wow. Dare you say? Does it make your like loved as in like an honorable mention of all time list?
I think it's gonna have to spend some time cooking before I can decide that.
Okay. Yep.
Good enough that I want to go. I found that like a super secret room that had some sort of like rhythm pattern puzzle in it that seems like you have to like pull a rhythm from some other part of the game and like remember it and come back. I want to come back and try to solve that puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not done with Celeste, but I beat it. And they also throw like a secret after the epilogue, they throw like a secret chapter at you that's like, you're not ready for this. You have to go find this stuff to go to the final last chapter. So I would be interested to see if I can make it in there. I don't know if I'm going to try to do it all without guides because I'll get sick of it eventually, but I'll probably play some more Celeste. It's a good game.
What a beautiful combination of gameplay, music, and story. It just meets right in the middle, and then topped off with a nice cherry of post-game and optional difficulty for collectibles. Beautiful.
Did you mean a nice strawberry in this case?
Yes, I like that. A straw cherry.
So I am out of games for the week. I have stuff to talk about with that Microsoft event, but what were you playing?
Oh no, I've discussed everything I've played.
Oh really? It was just Paper Mario and Mario Kart.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Paper Mario and occasional Mario Kart Tour. But
wow.
yeah, the Xbox conference, we can talk about that. That was a thing this week.
Yeah, they did a press conference all about games, not about the console at all. They were just like, here's a bunch of games.
Yes. And I appreciate beforehand they stated this has nothing to do with the console. I was like, good on you for saying that beforehand. I'm sure they looked at Nintendo and all the flack they get for not being like communicating on stuff like and being like, okay guys, like we don't want any flack for this. This is only games, so you're not going to say anything about the console. Don't get mad at us for that.
That was definitely a good decision on their part to keep expectations low.
It was. And you said you enjoyed it?
Yes, you said that you had no comments about it because you didn't like it, right?
I didn't like it. That's true. I didn't dislike it. It was a lot of games. One thing that I did note about it that I like a lot is almost every single game, it might have been every single game that they announced had the little coming to Gamepass at the bottom of the screen. Just like,
well, yeah.
Every game they're making is just like, hey, this is going to be on our service.
They said that at the beginning of the press event. They were like, yo, like everything you're going to see is going to be Game Pass. This is what we want to do going forward.
It's incredible. Like Game Pass, like I almost feel bad for them selling Game Pass. It's too good of a deal. Stop, like raise the price or something. I'm joking, but you know, like Game Pass is such a good deal. And then you got the streaming service coming to the higher tier Game Pass. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Well, that's it.
Oh, I was just gonna say so the higher tier one does get the xCloud, right? And that's like $15 a month. If the Xbox Live service is going to be rolled into that one as well, because remember that's the one that has Xbox Gold in there right now, Xbox Live Gold. If the only way to get Gold is through that service now, they kind of are increasing the price, but they're giving you all of them for $15 a month. So think about like you and I who do the PC one primarily get that $5 a month, but we also aren't paying them monthly for online service, and we're also not buying as many of the Microsoft games for Xbox because we just get it on Windows.
Right.
So we get like this sweet deal on the side because we're PC players, but then if you're playing on an Xbox, chances are pretty good you're going to be playing online with your friends, so you already have Gold. So in that case, they're actually increasing the price if they roll it all together. You see what I mean? So it's like they're taking a hit by not selling as many of the games, but they're getting way more people playing their games more consistently, and they're getting people to pay like twice as much for the online service.
Oh, interesting.
So great deal all around.
Yeah, like I'm excited to see how the xCloud thing works out, and also like what part of it, like say you do buy the higher tier subscription, like what does that mean exactly? Are you paying for the ability to buy games to stream, or perhaps you can stream games coming to the new Xbox?
I could be wrong about this, but I believe they have clarified that they are looking to do just a subscription and you get the games for free. That as in that like it's not Stadia style where you pay a subscription where you have it, you buy the games, you run the service, and they have like a premium service. I think they've clarified that they're like, that's why they have Game Pass, right? So it's like if you're subscribed to xCloud, everything on Game Pass, you can just stream straight to your machine because you have this subscription.
Oh, and also that reminds me, or phone. So I guess you're also paying for the ability to stream to your phone, which really looking forward to seeing how that works still.
Well, you can connect your controller to your phone now, right? So it's like, are you sitting there with a little phone streaming, Ori and the Blind Forest or something onto your phone with your controller.
Yeah, but will it be good? Will it be fast enough? Do I need to buy an Ethernet adapter for my phone to play games on the go and then find just an Ethernet port somewhere? I don't know.
That's going to be nuts. Well, do you want to talk about the games? Because that's mostly what they talked about.
Yeah, sure. I don't think anything stood out to me besides Psychonauts 2. Ooh, boy, did Psychonauts 2 look real tasty.
That looked crazy. They didn't reveal too much in the trailer other than just like, here's how wacky this game's going to look.
I backed it on Kickstarter. I think it was Kickstarter.
Really?
I don't know how many years ago when was this?
Wasn't Psychonauts 2 one of the first ones on that like investment service?
Investment?
Yeah, it was like a Kickstarter. Shoot, I wish I could remember what it called. That's not important. Let's talk about these games. Fig? I think there were Fig. That's one.
Yep. I backed it January 2016.
Wow.
Over 4 years later, they released like a 2-minute gameplay trailer. So I'm excited that I'm getting it when it comes out for money that I spent 4 years ago. So that's all I have to say on that.
Yo, okay. Halo Infinite looked pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have not played more than one Halo game, but I have the Master Chief Collection now, and so I'm going to play through them all. And I'm going to get real excited for the new Halo game. Open world Halo sounds interesting at the very least.
Yeah.
I will try it.
Try it with Gamepass.
They announced State of Decay 3. Which, if you remember, State of Decay 2 was that game I played on Game Pass a few months ago that I really, really, really liked. So I would be interested to try more of that. I honestly, this is just selling me more and more in Game Pass. I'm not going to be buying State of Decay 3. Like, I only played State of Decay 2 for like 2 or 3 weeks, but I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
They announced an update to Tetris Effect that's going to add multiplayer.
I thought of you immediately when it showed the people's faces turn into Tetris things. I was like, oh, Daniel's gonna like this.
I'm so excited. And it's like, okay, so every Tetris or like Dr. Mario puzzle game multiplayer I've ever played has been like competitive. You all get your own little lanes and you're all, as you do stuff, you're attacking the enemies, right? This is cooperative. So like it merges your play field. So if I have an L block and you need an L block way over there, I like send it all the way across the screen and drop it on your side. And like,
I didn't realize it was multiplayer.
Yes. Like, okay, so I don't know how long a normal Tetris grid is. Maybe it's like 10
or 12, maybe.
Yeah. 10 or 12 blocks wide. So if you play with like 4 people, it's like 40 blocks wide and you're all working on one and you have 4 pieces falling at the same time.
Daniel, I'm sorry, but people aren't going to be as good at Tetris as you are out there. Well, actually, maybe if someone cares enough about Tetris to buy a Tetris game, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's going to be pros and you're going to play an online experience and have the best online experience in any game you've ever had.
Now, there was a game, moving on from Tetris, there was a game they announced. I am shocked that you think that this is not a big announcement. It's probably because you don't realize that it's a sequel based on the name. Do you remember the Warhammer 40K game?
Yeah, I saw that and I thought maybe Kyle would care about that.
Well, it's a Vermintide, but with guns. It's Darktide. Warhammer 40K Darktide.
Oh.
It's the next Vermintide, but it's instead of being in the Warhammer universe, it's in the Warhammer 40K universe, which is like the future version.
What?
How are you not excited by this?
What is it called?
It's called Warhammer 40K Dark. I knew you saw Warhammer 40K and just checked out. I knew that you
absolutely did. I saw the word Warhammer and I was like, I don't play those games. And I probably stopped watching.
No, it's called Darktide, and it's like Vermintide's already like Left 4 Dead, but with rats and stuff in a fantasy setting. This is Warhammer 40K, so it's their like space future setting, and it's like zombies, and they had a bunch of guys with guns, but it's Vermintide. It's the same type of game.
Oh, did they even show gameplay from it, or was it? I don't
remember.
Just like a title reveal.
I think it was just a title reveal, but they did show a bunch of hordes of zombies and 4 guys with guns running up against them, and it looked very much like Vermintide, but 40,000 years in the future.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that got me pumped.
That is exciting, especially if it's on Game Pass. Then much more easier to play with some buds.
Yes. So I think that the press conference was really good. They had a lot of like shooting games, right? So, and the 2 biggest categories of games they had a lot of shooting games, and then they had a lot of games that were like oh, here is a story-based mystery. You're going to go into this house or into this school or into this gas station, and then there's going to be a bunch of story reveal stuff. It's like a bunch of games seeing like the suicide of Rachel Foster or seeing like
Mm-hmm.
Gone Home and those style of games. But there was that one really cool one. I forget what it's called, but oh, The Medium, where the lady goes into the school to solve the mystery, but she can switch between the real world and the spiritual world, and they've actually co-rendered both worlds at the same time. So you hit a button and it swaps the world. Did you see that one?
I did, yeah.
That one looked really, really cool.
Yeah. I saw a lot of games that I'm like, these look like cool games if I just was a person that lived forever and played games all of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing that trumped my hierarchy of I want to play this.
Right, like your queue is full. There's nothing that blocked out your queue.
You know, like it's going to take a lot to bump something off that's even just like Heroes of the Storm or even like well, I haven't really played Overwatch that much, but you know, Overwatch 2 is going to come out at some point.
Hopefully.
Maybe. And I'm sure that'll bump a lot of things down.
Oh.
Man, so I forgot about Overwatch 2, honestly.
That is everything with the conference I want to talk about. Other than they showed off 120 frames per second Ori and the Will of the Wisps on Xbox One. Whew, that looks
so
good.
Smooth. Do TVs even support 120 frames per second?
Some of them nowadays do. You'll get like a 120 or 144 TV. They're very expensive.
That's insane. I don't think I'd even like watching a movie on that. So like, why is there a market for TVs like that?
Well, as long as it is a multiple of 24, then you'll be able to watch film quality stuff because 24 is film standard. So your eye is used to seeing movies at 24. Anything above that starts looking a little bit unnatural, which sometimes I kind of like. I like the weird like sitcom like middle of the day TV dramas that come on. Sometimes you'll see them like I'll walk by a screen at work or something and they'll be on and they're just like super funky because you can tell they're 60 frames a second.
They are just real buttery smooth and you're like,
that telenovela, like that Latin woman is getting upset at this guy for cheating on her in like super high fidelity.
Well, yeah, that boggles my mind if people actually buy TVs like that. I'm sure maybe when these consoles come out, maybe that'll boost the TV sales a little bit because at least for the people who haven't gone out of their way to buy one at this point. I don't know.
Well, I think that ends the games we wanted to talk about and the conference, but we have a special feature before we jump into our normal deals this week. We actually got an email over at patientplayerspodcast@gmail.com that is different than our normal Q&A emails. This was basically an opinion review email that we wanted to share with you from our longtime writer, Kay.
That's right. Kay's coming to us not in the question section this time because he didn't have a question. So we're going to throw it in the middle. His thoughts on whatever the email is about, but we didn't find any questions in it.
Yes. Okay. So be prepared. There's a lot of info here. This is a very detailed review. Kay writes, "Hello, both patients and players. It is I, Kay, back at you straight from the abyss. Last time I messaged you, it had to be through a third party, and I do apologize for that. However, today I seem to be able to message you directly. I would give you an update on what's been happening, but not really has been happening. I've been taking a break for the last couple of weeks playing Crosscode on Nintendo Switch just to unwind. Speaking of Crosscode, I've actually really been enjoying the game so far. The story has gotten really interesting in the place where I am at, and I can't seem to put it down. But while I'm giving the game a recommendation, I will say you will probably get the most out of this game if you buy it on PC. Interesting. This game requires some often precise aiming that feels like it was made with mouse and keyboard in mind, and while the right stick is serviceable, it does feel like it requires a bit of a learning curve in order to master. Unfortunately, if you were also thinking of buying the game on Switch, there are some pretty noticeable bugs that haven't been patched out yet. There is occasional lag in large areas, music will often cut out or get stuck, and there is always a 1 or 2 second lag when selecting an option in the menu, just to name a few.
Ew.
Yikes, side note, that sounds bad. Okay, moving on. A patch was submitted before the game came out a few weeks ago that fixes these bugs, but Nintendo has yet to approve it. So if you were to buy this game on Switch right now, you may finish the game before the patch comes out.
Yikes, a few weeks ago? That's a long approval process.
I just wanted to get the disclaimer out there since I had given this game a spotlight in my last email, but enough about what is wrong about the game. Let me tell you about everything that's so right about this game. Crosscode Action RPG with gameplay. Crosscode is an action RPG with gameplay that feels somewhat like a 2D Zelda, except with much more expanded combat and extra RPG elements like experience points, levels, and skill trees. The exploration
skill
is really
trees.
top notch as well. Every location in the game feels like it is filled with secrets to discover, and learning how to scale the environment to find those secrets is really satisfying. The combat feels tight as well, with my only complaint being that sometimes it feels like there's too much going on screen to the point that I will occasionally lose where my character is. And also that since a lot of your attacks cause the player to move forward, fighting enemies that are near ledges will often send you careening off with them.
Oh, very
Luckily,
good.
though, if you fall off a ledge, it only results in a minor loss of HP. Finally, without giving anything away, the story is really good so far. There are plenty of twists, turns, and cute character moments to be seen here. It feels like through every chapter of the game, they hook me with just one or two more story details that make me say, okay, let me just play one more chapter. Overall, the game is great, and I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10 would cross that code again. Love, and the French girl character is my favorite. K.
Wow. He gave it 10 out of 10, dude. Like, the more he talks about this, the more I want to at least give it a try somewhere.
Yeah.
Is it coming to Game Pass?
that's the question. Oh man. Well, let's talk about Game Pass because it's time to talk about the deals for the week.
Oh, it is on Game Pass.
Oh, Crosscode's on Game Pass?
Yes, actually, what am I talking about? I saw an article the other day saying, hey, Crosscode is most popular on Xbox because it's on Game Pass, so there's a ton of people playing it there. I don't know if that means it's only on the Xbox Game Pass or also on the PC one.
We'd have to find that out, but there's a chance we could just go play it on the PC one.
Interesting.
And it's been out on PC for a while, so it makes sense that it wouldn't be in like the recent releases or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so at this part in the podcast, we talk about any cool deals or subscriptions that you can find if you are a patient player like we are and you want to do some gaming in the slow lane. And the monthly subscriptions for the console, like the Games for Gold and the PlayStation Plus, they haven't announced August yet. So those are still the same as our previous weeks. Nothing out there that really stood out from what we talked about. You can go back and hear the old podcast if you want to go over those. The Humble Bundle, same thing. They haven't announced August. And in fact, me and Jordan, I think, both paused this week for the Humble Bundle. That one didn't catch our interest very much. But each week we get the new Epic Games. Coming up this week is until July 30th. Right now you can get Next Up Hero, which is kind of a pixel side scroller, and Tacoma, which is kind of one of those games I described about earlier, where it's like an environment exploration game where you uncover a story. It's made by the Gone Home guy, but it's in space.
Gone Space.
Sure.
The game.
We will talk about them next week, but there are a couple good ones next week that I think we might get a good story about one of the Epic Games next week. A little teaser for you there.
Wait, why is that? What is that supposed to mean?
You just have to listen to next week's episode, Jordan.
Oh, I will. I'll tune in live actually on Twitch, on twitch.tv/patientplayers.
That's good. That's a good place to tune in live. Yep.
I'll hit that like button and I'll ring that notification bell.
Oh man. But we have not been mentioning the last couple of weeks. In my opinion, it's because I just haven't been looking at it because I haven't been subscribed. But the Game Pass for PC has been getting a lot of updates. I mentioned that Halo 3 got added to the Master Chief Collection not too long ago, but I bought Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam, so I wasn't paying attention to Game Pass. There are a few games on here I wanted to call out. Do you want to start with one, Jordan?
Oh, like the one?
Sure.
Yeah, so yesterday I was telling Daniel about a game that I've been waiting for like 4 or 5 months called Carrion. Not
Carrion.
Carrion. Yeah, there you go. Not like a carry-on luggage, but Carrion. I do not remember where I heard about this. I think it was a tweet. It was a tweet so long ago that they showed off a little bit of gameplay in the tweet, and I'm like, this looks really cool. It's like a reverse horror scenario where there's like a monster on the loose in a facility, except you are the monster, and you get to like infect people and like control them and burst out and just like munch everyone. I've been waiting for so long, and it came out this week. And earlier, Daniel was checking out the Game Pass games, and he's like, what is this game? This looks really cool. And he's talking about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I told you about that yesterday. That's the game that you had never heard of. But apparently it's on Game Pass, you said?
Yeah, it really disappointed you too because you wanted to tell me about it
I
yourself,
was.
and then I just stumble across it on Game Pass.
He had never heard of it yesterday. I was like, dude, I'm so excited to tell you about it on the podcast tomorrow. And then earlier he's like, whoa, this is really cool. He's like reading the description of it. I'm sitting here like, oh no, there goes my content. But
well, oh, go ahead.
That's just honestly like seeing that crosscode is on Game Pass, seeing that Carrion is on Game Pass. I'm probably going to subscribe to another month of Game Pass at this point.
Yeah, I'm 100% subscribing because I want to try out those two games, and I also want to try out a game. I've mentioned this to you a couple times. I don't know if you've ever. We watched the trailer on the pre-stream like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Do you remember Forager?
Yeah, it was like Stardew meets Roguelands. What was it?
Kind of, yeah, like you do dungeon delving and you build up islands and stuff, but it looked super fun and it got really good reviews when it came out, but that's on Game Pass now.
Wow.
And the most recently added game on Game Pass as of right now is actually Golf with Your Friends, which I've heard a lot of people playing that.
I've only heard good things of Golf with Friends.
Okay.
Weirdly.
Yeah, when I saw it, I thought about Golf Story and I was like, that makes sense, but it's not Golf Story. It's Golf with Your Friends, which is different. It's like, is you literally you just get online and golf with people you know?
I don't know, dude. I've not cared enough to look into it. So the fact that it's on Game Pass means I'll probably get to try it out now. I think I have a friend who has like a bajillion hours in it because he plays it with his friends, and I just did not understand why.
I mean, I guess they understood the instructions, right? They're golfing with their friends, right?
Yeah. I guess it doesn't say to have fun while you do it. So whether or not that's true is still up in the air.
So yeah, I'm definitely resubscribing. I'll be downloading Carrion. You got me saying it now. Carry on
my wayward son.
So I think that is the end of the games. That's the end of the deals. And now we're moving into the best part of the podcast, which is going to be the question and answer section. Are you ready? Are you ready, Jordan?
I'm so ready, Freddie.
Okay. Well, as always, we start with our priority questions that come by email to the patientplayerspodcast@gmail.com email address. And since we've gotten Kay's weekly update out of the way, we've got 3 different questions to answer. Would you like to begin us, Jordan?
I would. So our first email comes from our usual writer, Miranda. It says, dearest patient players, when you have a companion in a game, would you rather it be an animal, an object, or another person, and why? Is it cheating for me to say another person, but another real life person? Because 2-player games are the best.
I think when I first saw this question, I was like, I should tell Jordan that he's my favorite companion.
Oh, wait, but your wife?
She doesn't like the games that I play. She's not out here playing Monster Hunter with me.
Or Divinity 2. Hint, hint.
She does play that with me.
No, I know. I'm just saying you guys need to play more of it because that's a great game.
Look, we know we're working on it.
I know you are. Yeah. Just your friendly weekly reminder that Divinity 2 is a game that is good.
Thanks.
End.
Oh man. I think that in a game with like an actual companion, it's weird. I think I get more attached to non-humanoid companions. But if it's literally an object like the companion cube, I think that that's more of a meme. Like I feel like I don't stick around and like grow attachment to it. I'm willing to throw it away. But if it's like dog meat in Fallout or whatever, like I would probably be like,
oh, okay,
nothing can happen to dog meat.
A lot of stuff happens to dog meat.
That's true.
And he just gets up because he's got that sweet unkillable tag.
Oh man.
Okay, good question.
That was a good question. Thank you. Now, coming in from our it's like on and off writer, our question writer, Mern.
Mm-hmm.
Mern asks, "Hi, PPPers. In response to Jordan's Lego Bible video game idea from last week, I have a question."
Okay, I'm so excited for this.
Would Lot's wife's character just turn white, or would she explode into a lot of single white Lego pieces?
Yes, I was going to say that. That's how they do sand in Lego games. They use the little
Studs?
dot. Yeah, the little stud. And or even like mud, they'll have like little brown ones. I absolutely just explode into
Man, I can't get over this idea. This is such a good idea.
a bunch of those. Yeah, I don't know. It's never gonna happen, and it makes me
Like
sad.
Lego Moses with Lego Pharaoh and have like Lego locusts come in. Oh my goodness. That would be so good.
Lego frogs.
Oh, the Lego plagues. I need it.
Buy the DLC pack today to get access to play as Barabbas.
The Lego Bible DLC packs would be amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what other stories would have weird Lego game mechanics?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you, Mern. Mern of Quebec, Canada. She says,
Man, I miss the locations. It's been so long since I threw on a Lego location, Lego random location.
I'm too stuck on the Bible. I can't come up with any better idea than the Bible for a Lego game.
And also, it's difficult that most of other stories in the world have already actually been made into Lego games.
That's
Lord
true.
of the Rings, Star Wars, everything Marvel,
Harry Potter.
Yeah,
like
what? Like
the Twilight series Lego.
Borderlands Lego.
Borderlands Lego is actually a really good idea.
Like,
and
would it still be a first
feasible? Like, so they might actually do that.
Yeah, that's. There you go. Wow. You know, Overwatch Lego sets are a thing. Overwatch Lego the game, I think, would be really fun. Like, especially like story wise.
Wow, we are getting some high quality content from these questions. Thank you very much. Do you want to take us away with our last email before we move to the Discord questions?
No. Fine. Our very rare writer, his name is Daniel, writes us. He says, "Can computers delete things on their own?"
Okay, see, I think this is a good question, and I think I have an answer for it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yep.
I think that rarely, like when people talk about computers deleting thing on their own, that it's rarely actually that's what's happening.
Right.
That in fact, there's some other process that's confused them.
But the computer is still the one doing the deleting. You know, you see what I'm saying? You're not opening up the hard drive, getting a little toothbrush, and kind of like coating over the little laser etches. You know, like the computer's being like, this isn't preservable space.
So you're now obfuscating yourself from any responsibility for any deleted file at any point unless you're physically destroying it on the hard drive.
Well, no, I can still tell the computer to do stuff, but I'm telling the computer to do the stuff. You see what I'm saying? Also, are you going to give any background to this conversation, or
we had a disagreement before the podcast?
My computer crashed, so I rolled it back to a previous state. Therefore, I told Daniel the computer deleted my audio software, and he said, "No. You told the computer to roll back, and that's what deleted the software."
I did the little shoulder thing.
He did a little shimmy, and I was like, "Yeah, but the computer, it's not important." And then he emailed about it, and I was like, dang it.
The ultimate way to get you to talk about something is to just send us an email.
Exactly. Yeah, true. Honestly, though, like, maybe I should email next week saying, "Hey, can I get some cookies or something?" You know, like, "Hey, can I come visit sometime?" Probably not a good time for me to visit.
Our last section of questions before we run out of time in this fine podcast is the Twitch chat and Discord channel. So those who have the privilege of joining the live recording of these podcasts over the weekends on twitch.tv/patientplayers can ask questions in the chat, or at any point in the week, even during the recording, you can go over to patientplayers.com/discord and join the Discord server. There is a podcast questions channel there where you can ask your questions. We have a lot of questions stored up there, so we've actually plucked out a few, and we have a brand new one that just came in earlier today. So starting with our Discord questions, we have, what is the funniest moment you can remember in a random voice chat and video game?
Nope.
Not at all?
I'm not answering this. I avoid voice chat like the plague. Are you kidding me? Social interact. I don't play video games to interact with people unless it's my friends. Okay. This is what was the wording? A random voice chat. Oh my word! When is even the last time I used voice chat in a game?
You're telling me like when we first started doing Overwatch, there were occasionally like we would be on coordinating, and there'd be like some guy who's drunk or something, and would just say something funny. Like you've never experienced any humor.
Not that
in
that I can remember.
That's fair.
Nothing that like
memorable.
was so funny that I'm like, oh, that was funny.
Just goes down in history.
Yeah, no, I got nothing. Probably because I don't make it any easier on myself by just as soon as I open up a new game, it's like, is there voice chat? Go to settings, disable voice chat, everything off. Oh, I'm safe. Good. No one can hear me.
All right. Well, the only one that I can clearly remember off the top of my head was it kind of came an inside joke for me and Marion and my sister-in-law, so Marion's sister.
You've told the story on the podcast before. Is this the VR chat one?
Yeah, I was gonna. Okay, I asked Marion. I was like, did I ever tell this story on the podcast? She was like, oh no, that'd be a great story.
You did, but you can give a summary. You know,
for any new listeners, I'll give a summary. So basically, I have a VR headset. I like showing it off to people. You can do cool stuff. My sister-in-law is not super into gaming, and so I was like, well, she would probably like the other applications where you can like go on Google Earth and explore places, or you can like meet people and hang out with them in VR, and it's like you're talking face to face. So I was like, I'm gonna boot up this social app called Big Screen where you can have your computer screen, and then you can like join rooms with other people, and they all have their computer screen, so you can like watch stuff together or just hang out and chat. And so she doesn't know anything that's going on, and I put the headset on, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna show you like a cool social app where you get to like say hi to people. And she's like, wait, what are you talking about? And so I go in there and I start up a room, and completely without thinking, I was like I just for the sake of privacy, let's just say her name is like Meg or whatever. I'm like, come say hi to Meg. She's a really cool person, or she's a really cool girl or something, or a really neat girl. I forget what I said, but so I like start up this room, not thinking about how creepy that would be for someone else to see. And like the type of people who want to join that room are probably a little weird.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that at all. And so she gets dropped into this room. And then there is there's a new guy who jumps in there, and we're like, oh, you're going to be chatting with this person. She's like, what? No. And she like doesn't realize there's a microphone on the headset. And so she's like trying to talk quietly, like, who am I talking to? And then out of the blue, the voice chat from this guy comes in, and he's got like this British accent, and his character is like fumbling around looking for the screen, because you're supposed to have like a virtual representation of the screen. And he just goes, oh no, where's my telly? I've lost my telly. And when I realized she was getting uncomfortable, I like shut it all down. But that became a joke between us for years. We'd always be like, oh no, I've lost my telly.
The poor how do you lose a telly? What is isn't a telly a television in British?
I think the British man was confused and he was calling his screen the telly.
Oh, like is in-game telly?
Yeah, like the screen that you're seeing in big screen. He couldn't find it. I think that's what was going on. I did not stick around long enough to ask him, but
that's fair.
Oh man.
Actually, I already told this on the podcast, but do you remember the time we were playing Sea of Thieves and the guy joined our group, so we locked him in the brig, and then eventually he's just like, yeah, sorry, couldn't find my microphone. My kids must have hid it. I figured that's why you locked me in the brig. That was pretty funny, because we felt so bad that this random guy just joined us, and immediately we lock him in the brig, where you can't do anything in the game. You can play your instrument, but that's it. So I guess that counts as my story.
All right. Our next question, Jordan, hit me with it.
Hey Daniel, what is your go-to type of weapon? Is it long range or short range? Also, chance of special conditions or solid damage guaranteed.
Oh, okay. So like long range, short range, or like special attack versus just like hit them hard. Ooh, this is tough.
I've noticed in games like Monster Hunter or Bloodborne, I tend to go towards the big chonky boys. Like you
just hit them as hard as you can.
Real slow. But every time that it hits, it does so much damage. Like the fast ones are fun, but I just love that kathunkity. Especially the long range kathunkities, so
like a big cannon.
No, just like maybe medium range. Not like you're up in his face.
You want a melee weapon
going fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like guns or anything.
I think in games that offer, so it's weird because there's like shooting long range games that sometimes have melee options. Like Team Fortress, you can play with the guy that has a sword, right? Or Call of Duty, you can stab someone with a knife or use a riot shield or something. And then there are melee focused games like Dark Souls or Monster Hunter or whatever, where you can mostly hit things with a sword, but they also have long range weapons that you can use like magic or like the bows and Monster Hunter. So it's weird. I feel like I generally go with whatever the game's main type is. So like I'm not usually using melee in Team Fortress and I'm not using ranged in Dark Souls, but I will generally, if it's like equal, like Monster Hunter is pretty equal. There's like good options for both. I would probably choose the up close ones because those will often have a lot of timing based gameplay where like you have to watch what the enemy's doing and get out of the way and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very positioning heavy, and I like that kind of challenge. So I like those weapons. As far as special condition or damage,
but only if your armor is high enough.
yeah, as we discovered like 2 nights ago. Special conditions are tough. I feel like this has changed over the years. Like I feel like when I was a kid and I was playing Pokemon, like I would go for the status effect 9 times out of 10. Like I loved putting him to sleep or hitting him with like a leech seed or whatever. But nowadays I'm like, just give me the combo that's gonna blow him up.
That sweet 100% guaranteed combo if you're good enough to land it kind of thing.
You know what the best status effect is to put on your enemies?
In just any game?
Death.
Oh.
It's the ultimate status effect. Just give me that damage.
I like it. And also you're playing defensively at the same time because they can't deal damage to you if they're dead.
Look, Jordan already knows this, but for anyone listening, this is the Daniel approved best healing strat in the game, courtesy of Zenyatta. If all of the enemy team is dead, they can't hurt your teammates. It's the best support strategy of all time.
No need to heal if no one's being hurt.
In chat, it is pointed out that rather than maturing from status effects to damage, it's mostly that I just stopped toying with people, which I think is a fair assessment of me playing Pokemon.
No, he still toys with people. Don't listen to him. You play any game with Daniel, he's like, hey, what if I play it upside down with my eyes closed? That'll be fun. And then he wins, and he's like, huh, what an unexpected result.
Last week, you said you wanted to play Smash Bros. With me using a Joy-Con because it was a handicap. So why are your handicaps okay, but when I handicap myself, it's being rude?
Because it's me suggesting the handicap and not you being like, oh, I'm winning too easy. Let me try and dumb myself down. You know what I'm saying? It's who's presenting the idea.
Okay, well, why don't I suggest that you suggest a handicap next time, and I just won't suggest what it is.
That's perfect. Just whisper to me. Just be like, and I'll be like, Daniel, I think you should try this. And you'll be like, okay, Jordan.
Only because you asked.
I say that as a joke, but honestly, maybe that would make me feel a little bit better.
I think it would actually work.
That's weird.
Just knowing our relationship, I think that would actually work.
But I am still excited to play Smash with you and Judah. No handicaps. Just a fun time.
No handicaps? All right.
I'm just going to go into it saying I'm not going to win. Should I even try? I'll try. You know what? I will try.
You should try.
Yeah. Just fun time.
So I think for our time, we're hitting our last question for this week's episode, courtesy of Dark Sage in the Twitch chat, who asks that he knows that today Witcher 3 is considered by most people the gold standard in terms of how to make a game well and deliver on the promises that the game made. But he also remembers a time when Mass Effect 2 was the gold standard in the industry, and most companies were trying to emulate or surpass what it did for gaming. My question is, what game has a bigger impact on the community as a whole, and in terms of gaming culturally, Mass Effect 2 or The Witcher 3?
This one is rough for me because I have not played either of those.
Well, and I've only played The Witcher, but I think the question is still really cool because it's about like industry impact, right? And like surely you and I have both heard those games and the effects of them throughout everything else.
The Mass Effect of them so much.
Really? You think Mass Effect more than Witcher?
No, I was making a pun. I was talking about the Mass Effect that they. Yep, that's the one.
Oh,
that's the pun.
Okay, I get it now.
That's it. But in terms of like what other big games have like impacted, does that still happen? Like, do games still impact the industry these days?
I think Breath of the Wild is just now being felt in games. I think that the open world changes. Like I think we're honestly, I bet Halo Infinite has some stuff from Breath of the Wild. I think that the way that that's
Hmm.
going to change open world, like locating things in the environment and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Now I'm picturing every gun just has a durability, and your gun breaks, and you got to find a new weapon, and you're just being chased by enemies. You're like, I have no guns. No,
Jordan, I hate to tell you this, but that already exists, and it's called ammunition.
I've never heard of that.
When your gun runs out of ammo and you have to pick up a new gun.
I thought you were referring to a game called Ammunition, and I was like, tell me more about this. I've never heard of ammunition.
No. Shooting games have always had durability.
Okay, yeah. Well,
that's every Halo game. You run out of your favorite gun, you got to pick up a new one. That's like literally how Halo works.
I think it's a little different. You know, it's because you can like overstock on ammo. Like if your weapon, like your last weapon breaks, you need to.
Having full ammo is just having full durability on the gun.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's a very interesting point you're making.
The only difference is that you can pick up new ammo, which is not how Breath of the Wild works.
Is there ammo in Halo games? I have not played many of those either.
Yes, there's a ammo in Halo games.
Okay, I didn't know if it's like you ran it. It's just like you reload and you're good again.
No. Like you have a total ammo counter.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So to the question of the Mass Effect 2 or Witcher 3. Well, and the question's not so much about like any games nowadays, but it's like which of those two games had a bigger impact. I would say if you asked this question like a year ago or 2 years ago, it would probably be Mass Effect. But I think that at this point, The Witcher 3 has only continued to grow in popularity to the point where you have the Netflix series, you have
the Switch port.
You have the Switcher 3.
That's huge. The Switcher 3. That's great.
You've never heard it called that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and like there are people playing The Witcher still. And how old is that game? It's fairly old, right?
I think so, yeah.
It launched in 2015. So we're talking about a game that is over 5 years old at this point. That is like there are still people picking it up for the first time on Steam sales and like loving it and spending hundreds of hours with it. I definitely think that one is what I would call out as the bigger impact today, but only recently, like in 2015. No, it was Mass Effect, but today I think The Witcher has just picked up steam, and I think that's why Cyberpunk is so highly anticipated, is because The Witcher 3 had such a big impact.
Are they the same developers, or just common? Oh, really?
Yeah. Cyberpunk is by the Witcher folks.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. Surprise question. I'm sorry. We got a question not through the typical Discord channel. I got a direct message from Isaiah who asks, do you know of any good services like Gamefly where you can rent a game for as long as you want and pay a monthly fee, or are there any that you recommend?
Yo, I remember Gamefly back in like 2011. Oh my word. I remember thinking that was the coolest thing ever. But I mean, is Microsoft Game Pass not Gamefly? Kind
of, I guess. So like, to answer your question, Isaiah, if you are not familiar with some of the subscription stuff we've been talking about, it's funny because I know Isaiah in real life, and I actually just talked with him last week, and he didn't realize that so many of the games we talked about from the Epic Game Stores are just free. He thought that it was like a subscription thing. But yeah, like I'd say stuff like that is helpful in terms of like you choosing a game and then playing it. I think the rental style is fading out. Like there's still Redbox,
absolutely, especially physical.
But the subscription style is not only in, but it's growing rapidly. So that service we talked about of Gamepass, that is fantastic. But the problem is that it doesn't necessarily go to all the different consoles. So like, whereas Gamefly, you would have like a PlayStation, an Xbox game, a Nintendo game, that kind of thing. They're becoming a lot more specific. So it might be harder to get something that's similar to the old styles.
And also, there are services like, we don't talk about it much, but Origins service. What is that called?
Oh, the EA, the Premier one, right?
Yeah, Origin Premier, something like that. That is available. Xbox, PlayStation, PC. I'm pretty sure it's the same subscription. You can use that across 3 different consoles, essentially. And that is, look at all these games you get to choose from and just download and play whenever you want. And I remember hearing rumors that Game Pass was coming to the Switch. Mm-hmm. I would have been just bonkers over that. And I think recently they're like, okay, it's not really happening. for some
Right.
reason. But holy,
I think Nintendo shut it down, which makes sense.
I guess so. Like, they would have gotten they got a little piece of the pie, a little.
Yeah, but that's a lot less game sales that they're making.
I guess they still have
And
their
they want you to
Nintendo
subscribe to
games.
their Nintendo stuff, yeah.
That's let's be honest. Well, especially before the Switch, the only reason people bought Nintendo consoles was for Nintendo games, and the Switch kind of turned that around, where it's like, oh yeah, I can play other games on this because it's actually a good console.
Also, heads up, you guys were talking about GameFly like it's gone. It's still there, right?
GameFly, you still pay for GameFly?
Yeah, like I'm on GameFly's website right now. The top most popular games on GameFly right now are Ghost of Tsushima, Paper Mario: The Origami King, Last of Us Part 2, Luigi's Mansion. It's mostly Switch games: SpongeBob for Switch, Animal Crossing, Maneater for PS4, Link's Awakening for Switch, Super Mario Bros. U for Switch.
I'm sorry. How did Blockbuster shut down, but not GameFly?
Because GameFly was always in the mail, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying
it's always...
there's like an audience of people out there with like poor internets that maybe this appeals to?
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know another service you could subscribe to and play Animal Crossing and Maneater and Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess shout outs to GameFly for continuing to rock it like 10 years later.
Dang. That's crazy.
Oh boy. Wow, what an episode. I think I am out if you are out of things to talk about, Jordan.
I am indeed.
Boy.
I'll have to talk about Microsoft Flight Sim next week. It's been on my list for 2 weeks. I'm going to talk about it sometime.
Oh, good. All right. Everyone, get your flight harnesses ready for next week's episode, apparently.
Yes, sir, Bob.
Thanks for joining us. And if you are listening through the podcast, thanks for downloading this. And please, if you've liked what you've heard, share it out with people who you think might like this type of gaming content. We'd always love to get new people hanging out with us. And you can always join us throughout the week over at the Discord. And you can follow us through the various social media channels we have and Twitch and the Discord at patientplayers.com/social. That'll get you everything that you need. And you can also join us on the weekends over on twitch.tv/patientplayers to hear the live recording. For those of you in our live audience, thanks for joining us. You guys are awesome. Great questions, everyone. Great content. Great podcast. You guys
Great co-host.
Yes.
That being you, because I'm saying it. But also me. I'll
the
take
best
it.
My favorite co-host, in fact.
Aw, you're my favorite co-host too. If I had another one though, it'd be a fight. But you'd probably still win. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
You beat the ladder.
I beat the ladder.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
See ya.